Well, guys, today is a sad day. It is time to say goodbye to the Blueberry, my Tesla Model 3. You know, since the day that I got it, I have loved it because it really has changed the way that I think about driving in the best possible way. But we are going to get something in its place. But first, we gotta go pick it up. The car that I'm picking up is in Las Vegas, so I hopped on the shuttle and made my way there before I went to the dealership. Is it any surprise on where I'm picking up the car? Today I am picking up the Model Y because I want to see what it's like inside and out and compare it to my Model 3. There's been a lot of questions about the differences between the Model 3 and the Model Y, specifically from you guys, and I want to answer those questions. Yep, right here. Yeah, I was hiding behind the vehicle because you caught me. I've been keeping a couple secrets from you. We got the Model Y, and in fact, we've had it for the last week or so, and we've been using it as our main vehicle. So yes, we did say goodbye to the Model 3, but it was just temporary. Tesla sent us the Model Y because they wanted us to give you our thoughts on it after comparing it to the Model 3. And if you haven't already seen, I made a video about the Model 3 after driving it for 50,000 miles and 5 years. So now we can answer your questions about the Model Y and give you my thoughts and experiences after driving it for a week. So when you put the cars side by side, you immediately notice the difference. The Model Y is a lot taller than the Model 3. The Model 3 is a sedan and the Model Y is a midsize SUV. So obviously you're gonna have some size and space differences. I understand that not everyone is gonna have this problem, but I just had a hip replacement, so getting into the Model 3, because it's so low to the ground, can be a struggle. And the Model Y is just higher off the ground, so getting in actually is a lot easier. So if your hips or knees are a problem for you, this might be a better option than the Model 3, just because of how high it is off the ground compared to the Model 3. So let's start talking about cargo space. One of the unique things about electric vehicles is the frunk. You don't have an engine here, so you have a little bit of space that you can play with. At its narrowest point, you have 18 inches. Let's call it 35 inches at its widest, 9.5 inches tall. On the Model Y, it's a little bit different shape. About 18 inches, 36-ish, 15 over here. So slightly different shapes, giving you different dimensions in the frunk, but both very usable frunk space. One of my favorite use cases with the frunk is when we go out to eat, we'll usually put our leftovers here so it doesn't stink up the car. Also, it's a great place to hide gifts for your kids because they don't ever usually look in the frunk, but they will definitely check the trunk. Also, one more thing to note, the Model 3 has the little shopping clips, while the Model Y currently does not. After taking a look at the frunks, let's go on the backside and look at the trunks. One thing that I love is that the newer versions have the automatic lift gate, where mine does not. You have to pull up. Oh, and I've got a lot of stuff here in the trunk. That's embarrassing. One cool thing about the Model Y is that it has a hatchback-like trunk. So you have this divider if you want to have it in there, but you can also take it out. It's good because it can kind of protect what you have in the trunk, but just with how open this is, there's a lot of space here that is usable. I like that it's open to the second row too, so if you have like a backpack or something that you want to access when you're on a road trip or something, you can just reach into the trunk and grab it. You'll have to excuse how messy my trunk is, but just to give you an idea, so take a look at the available trunk space you have here, but specifically this distance between here and here. Now we'll come over to the Model Y, and it is just so much more open because of that hatchback type trunk. And I do want to show you that you can lower the seats automatically from the trunk, but you do have to lift them up. But that also gives you a lot of space. When the seats are down, there is just tons of space, so you can put so many things in here. In fact, a lot of people will actually use this space and put in a mattress and go camping in their Model Y. That may be a teaser for a video coming up soon. Going back to the Model 3, there's no buttons to lower the seats in the back, but you can pull on this lever here and this lever here, and you can get more space there. When the seat is far enough forward, you can see that that seat will fold down properly, but there still is a slight incline. So sleeping in the Model 3 is quite a bit more difficult than, say, the Model Y or the Model S. But just comparing apples to apples, the Model Y is at a slight incline as well. Now, obviously, I'm a little bit more organized in the Model Y than I was on the Model 3, but this shows you some trunk space usage and how they compare. As if there wasn't enough trunk space already, underneath here is what we call the sub-trunk. And that goes down very deep, so you can actually have more stuff in the trunk, especially concealed. And yes, the Model 3 has it as well. One more bonus point for the power trunk. In the Model Y, you'll notice that the glass pane is much larger. It extends from nearly the back seat all the way to the front. Because of that, your rear view space is a little bit smaller than it would be on the Model 3. So take a look at your rear view window space. It's pretty small compared to the Model 3. It's not a deal breaker, but it is significant. And for comparison, here's the Model 3. Now, there is that window tint that comes standard that makes it seem about the same size as the Model Y, but to the naked eye, that is see-through. So over the course of the week of driving the Model Y, I think that's my only small gripe, is that the rear view window visibility is just a little bit smaller than the Model 3. That's not to say that there's so much visibility. Teslas are known for how much visibility they have because of all of the glass that extends so long and so far, while still being super safe. The Model 3 is lower to the ground, so your visibility is lower. When you're in the Model Y, you're sitting up higher, and therefore your visibility is higher. And I know that's one thing that my wife really likes about this car, is that you're sitting up higher in the car. And I know that's a big factor for a lot of people, is where they're sitting on the road. Going along the inside of the car, this is what the Model Y looks like. You have your normal steering wheel with volume knobs and gear stalks. You have a large display, and then underneath you have 2 wireless charging pads. From there you have storage in here, cup holders, and more storage right in here. And then in the doors you have storage here and storage here. Purely for informational purposes, I have pulled up Tesla.com to see what the Model Y prices are. Now, for reference, I paid $62,000 for my Tesla Model 3 back in 2018. The Model Y right now, their base price after tax credit is $34,000. That's a huge change from what I paid. Now, this is the base model, and it's not a custom order. It's one that they have already available that is still new, but getting into a Model Y is a lot easier than it used to be. It used to be that you would order a Model Y, have it custom made, and you'd have to wait a few months in order to get your Model Y. Now they have new Model Ys that are available that you can buy without custom ordering it, and it is lower cost than a custom order. So we've had the Model Y for a week. I wanted to get your quick thoughts on it. Like, what do you think? What do you like? What do you not like? Especially compared to the Model 3.
I love everything. When I drove it for the first time, I was like, oh, I knew we would have loved just a little bigger of a vehicle. I love our Blueberry, but I really like how big it is because it's not huge. It's not like I'm driving our Expedition, but it's small, but big enough for me to feel like I can fit the kids and not be so crammed. I love it.
So my friend came over here with her Model Y. She's got the white on white, and when you look at it from right here, it looks exactly the same. And all you do is you pull on this tab right here and pull this way, and then there's more seats in the back. And what I didn't know is that there's actually 2 cup holders here as well. So not only do you get the extra seats, you get 2 extra cup holders. And the same thing for this side. You just pull right here, and then you get access to that 3rd row with the 2 extra seats. I'm interested to know how much trunk space is left over with that 3rd row. So I'm gonna pop open the trunk. And you know what? There's more space than I thought there would be. That actually is pretty surprising. Do you get access to the... Yep, and you still get access. Okay, that's actually pleasantly surprising. You could definitely fit some backpacks, maybe even a carry-on or 2 in that space. I'm pleasantly surprised. I thought there would be 0 space whatsoever in the trunk with a 3rd row. Now, I'm 5'7", 5'8" on a good day with the right shoes, and this is how much space I have left in the middle row. So I think it actually is a really great place to have the kids. Not too shabby. It is definitely for your littlest family members, probably who are not in car seats. And another thing that I didn't know was that the 3rd row actually goes down as well. So you can have a full flat 2nd and 3rd row for extra storage. So if I were to summarize my thoughts comparing the Model 3 to the Model Y, the Model 3 is a sleeker, sportier car. It's lower to the ground and has a lot less space. The Model Y seems a bit more practical, has a lot of space, a lot more room, and, you know, is definitely a little bit more round, higher off the ground. So practical versus sportier, sleeker, that's really what it comes down to. The Model 3 and the Model Y are both a lot of fun to drive, and I think that's just kind of how electric cars, specifically Teslas, are. They're just fun to drive. Software does make a little bit of a difference. I have the full self-driving on the Model 3, whereas this very specific Model Y doesn't, and that impacted the way I drove on the freeway. So I guess I depend on full self-driving a little bit more than I thought I would, and I enjoy that. But ultimately, it's an amazing car. I really enjoyed driving it, and frankly, I think because we had this test, Ellie likes it more than the Model 3. So there may be a trade in the future. If you drive a Model Y, I would love to know your experience. If you have a Tesla, I would love to know your experience. For us, driving this around for the last week has been a lot of fun and we've really enjoyed it. So those are my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you a little bit of insight into comparing the Model 3 to the Model Y, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.